Hello everyone and welcome back once again to the Mania 7 Key World Cup 2018. I'm living in the past a little bit. My name is Juan Crystal. I'm gonna be commentating this match with my friend Nifrat00. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing fine. It's a beautiful morning, ready to watch some Mania.
I'm definitely excited and I really want to see this match happening, although I believe we are running into some issues again with the Argentinian team. I'm not so sure if we have the players ready and up for the game, which will be very unfortunate really. It happened before.
Yeah, isn't that right? Italy lost to South Korea by default in the round of 16?
Yes, they did. It will be funny though if they like lose by default in round of 16, then win by default on quarterfinals. So they technically just never really played.
Yeah, they haven't played yet in the knockout stages. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm not so sure what's happening over there. I believe it's Somnium that is not around this time for Argentina, so it's just Lucas waiting for it. So, what do you expect for this match anyway though? Like, imagine we happen to find Somnium in an alternate dimension and he just connects.
Well, I gotta say, most of the quarterfinals matchups so far have been pretty close actually. But this is one of those special cases where Italy ended up in a bad spot in the round of 16, which meant that they're facing this time a team that's much lower seeded than them. I believe Argentina is seed 20, if I remember correctly, and Italy is of course one of our top contenders. So, I mean, I gotta say, I'm looking for an Italy win here, even if Argentina does show up.
I honestly have to be with you on that choice. I will say that Italy just has a pretty strong roster. They just never really had a chance to shine. They had a very hard group with the Philippines and then a very complicated opponent, which was South Korea, even though they didn't show that having a very, very hard matchup for them. Now against Argentina, they're having a little bit of an easier time, as you mentioned. And I will say that Lucas will likely still be on top of the room from Argentina if the match actually happened. But it's just that Somnium won't really be as capable to hold on to this level of difficulty, I feel. And the Italians will just take advantage out of that with Jomiel and Happy Overjoy. They both will do pretty well in this pool, I imagine.
Yeah, I think Argentina is one of those teams where we have one standout player, and there's so many teams like this, but it's a 2v2 tournament, so you gotta fill in the second spot.
Yep, you really have to. I mean, it will be cool if he can just fill that gap by showing this time. That will be cool. Last time it was Lucas who didn't show, and this time it's Somnium that is not appearing.
So Juan, if we do have a win by default, not to get ahead of ourselves, but what's the schedule going to be like?
Well, after this, we still have one more match to play, which will be Canada versus France, and technically the schedule wouldn't be moved in any way really. It will be just France versus Canada playing after, like, at the time they are scheduled, and after that we'll have the map showcase for the semi-finals. I'm not sure if we have enough time for just showcasing the maps beforehand just to fill the stream with something.
All right. Well, Argentina does have 15 minutes to get their team together. So you guys just sit right there and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, there's not much we can really do. Of course, I mean, we could just like have some fun with the chat. If you have any question, you want to talk about something while we're waiting for Somnium to appear. We could probably just try and answer that, unless we can like banter a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead. If any questions, any banter? We have time to spare. Cat facts? Hey Juan, what's your favorite emote?
Oh, there's so many emotes though, I don't really know. If we were talking about like Twitch emotes, it would probably be PogChamp. Like PogChamp or Boji Hall, those two are really good.
Solid choices.
What about you? Do you have a favorite emote?
I like the heart emote. I use that the most. But that's just me. Oh, should I read some cat facts? Do you think that would be a good use of our time?
I mean, it's probably alright, I guess. Oh, we're seeing PogChamps on the chat now. Nice.
Uh-oh, what have you done, Juan?
Oh no.
Do we have any Osumania fun facts?
It's actually a good question. I'm not so sure. We could probably build something like that for next week, and I can't really come up with something out of the top of my head. But I don't really know.
Yeah.
Fun fact, every single match is not a sweep. Or, well, we actually had one, I think. Oh well.
Yeah. That's what happens when you're up against South Korea. And I believe China also sweeped.
It was, I think it was versus the Philippines, right? Yeah, it was a sweep.
Yeah,
I commentated that, yeah.
Philippines is a strong team, but China being our number 2 seed is just, a monster. Oh, there's another fun fact about the map pool this round. If you guys haven't already heard, we have a map with 100% ban rate already, so far that is, and only two more matches left to see if it'll be played.
Yeah, it looks like April's 14 has just been completely banned every single match, which is I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm not surprised, because to be fair, I was expecting that and Outside to be like the most popular bands of the pool. I'm slightly surprised though by the fact that we see One Day being banned so much.
Oh yeah, I was really interested. I also thought Outside wouldn't be a popular pick. Personally, when I made the map, I was really uncertain about it, like how this is going to be received. But it's actually been played several times already, I think 3 times, and it hasn't been banned as much as One Day.
Yep. And that's really weird, because like Day is just so much easier overall than any other map on the pool. You just need to pull the practice onto it. It's basically just pure SVs. The patterns are very simple. And
I would even go so far as to say, I think One Day might require less practice than Outside. Because, I mean, you don't have to worry about the patterns at all, being a 1.6 star map. And I don't think it's that long either. It's only 2 minutes, while Outside is 3.5 minutes. And Outside, the combinations of the long notes and the patterns and the SVs, that's something you also need to practice.
It really is. I mean, it's just that for outside, you kind of have to practice the patterns as you mentioned, and the SVs on top. It's just a pretty mixed and complicated choice. I'll say it's not like pure SVs. The SVs are just very intrusive, but the patterns as well are just very harsh. It's comparable to Gum on last stage, to be honest.
Say, Juan, what's your favorite map from this pool, or in general?
Oh, this pool 100%. It has to be One Day. Like, One Day is such a fun map. Like, it's very fun to play. It's a map that I can actually play, which is good.
Yeah.
And it's a map that is amazing to watch in tournament play as well. Like, on the match between Malaysia and the US, when they first picked it, I was like, oh god, this looks so good. Like, the scores were so intense.
Very tense, yeah.
Yeah, the map is just very simple, but it looks so weird that it's so fun to watch.
Personally, I am a big fan of, well, I love Penguin, and I think our teams love Penguin too, because it's picked almost every round, but the song is so fun, and it's got some really cool chord patterns that are fun to play. But the other one that I really like from this pool is, what's it called? Seven Colors.
Seven Colors, yeah, Seven Colors is pretty good.
Yeah, man. Metal maps are just fun in general, and usually they're more, I think, of a 4K sort of deal, because when you have like fast drum patterns, it's more easy to map it in a more confined setting with less lanes. But in the 7K, it works out really well, and it's really cool.
I mean, it's just lower Raika in general. I find lower Raika's maps pretty interesting overall. Like, every single time he just comes up with something new, it just works.
I'm gonna be honest, I gotta catch up on Raika's maps a little more.
It's a bit of a shame that he kinda had his own issues and isn't as active as before. Meanwhile, in the background, we're hearing some cool music. Like, this just sounds so familiar. I don't really remember the name.
Not sure if I've heard it before, but it does sound familiar. You're right.
Where is Outside from, since people seem so familiar with it? Well, that's something you have to answer as a mapper.
What was that? Oh, where's Outside from?
Yeah.
Outside is a song by Bill Wirtz. It also has a music video. He's uploaded it to YouTube. It's also on some other platforms. I don't think it's particularly special out of Bill Wirtz's work. It's just everyone loves Bill Wirtz, and that's one of his most recent songs.
Oh god, someone is asking if I could fill in for the missing Argentinian member. That's 100% not possible. Not only because it's just not possible, it's also because I'm not good enough to play on this tournament. I could play like one map, and that's it.
Yeah, same here. I think we had a question earlier. Noodles or rice?
Noodles. I mean, before you said anything else, noodles is always the answer.
I didn't even have to continue. Noodles or definitely noodles.
Yeah. I mean, if you follow me, like my maps in general, I'm a pretty noodle mapper, like,
oh yeah,
lover.
You're big on 4K long note mapper, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
I gotta say, I come from the opposite side of the community here, because I'm a 7K rice mapper. Rice being single note patterns, and I mean, I've experimented with long notes a lot, but just at the end of the day, I'm not good enough at long notes to know how complicated long note patterns feel, because I can't play them. And that's just kind of how it is with Mania. You gotta be a player if you want to be a mapper.
Well, to some extent, that is correct. I'll say if you want to map stuff that is like hard, then you need to be sort of able to play it.
That's definitely the. See, on my maps, I don't map anything higher than 6 most of the time. And whenever I do, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's it's a complicated thing. I'll say that when you're mapping something that is harder than what you can actually play or sort of judge, it almost always comes down just to luck, because even if you are not like very familiar with hard things in general, you could just come up with a map and it just happened to work because you guessed it right. I guess
For sure.
you were lucky. But pulling out consistent good content on higher difficulties is, you probably need to be good enough to play it.
I think there's a certain amount that you can generalize patterns from easier maps to harder maps. Just do the same thing but faster. But the issue comes when you try to do more nuanced patterns. When you try to
like innovate.
Yeah, basically that. Just to clarify, some questions in the chat. Rice mapping is our slang term for mapping with mostly single notes, as opposed to noodles, which are long notes. Rice noodles.
Yeah.
And we talk about SV. SV stands for speed velocity.
That is slider
velocity.
Technically
slider velocity. In Mania, it's more like scroll velocity. But basically, when we say SV map, we mean a map that has a lot of changes in speed.
Essentially, yep. Those are usually the most funny maps to watch, but the ones that take the most amount of practice. There are just some effects that are completely impossible to read, no matter how much you have to like know the song perfectly and have like amazing prediction. And even with that, you could technically just not see anything. Yeah, we still have like 2-3 minutes left for Somnium to appear here, but it's not looking like it.
It always seems to happen the World Cups. There's at least one or two win by defaults.
Yeah, it usually happens on the group stage, though. It's kind of unfortunate to see this on the bracket stage.
For sure. But again,
literally,
we've been talking this whole tournament about how teams of 2 players are at a disadvantage, and this is exactly why. Well, I guess Argentina has 3 players, but they have 2 main players, I guess you could say.
So yes, it's kind of unfortunate. Sadly, I believe this will be a win by default. It's pretty sad because as an Argentinian, seeing the Argentinian team losing by default, actually, which is even more funny, is the fact that other than I think the Forky World Cup of 2017, every single World Cup we lost by default. Like we got disqualified by default. We never really lost.
Man, that sucks.
Yep. In 2015 against Malaysia on semifinals, we lost by default. On 2016 against Japan in semifinals, we lost by default. Super sad.
It's quite a track record.
Yep. Sad song to accompany this. Nice. This is looking to be the end of the road for Argentina in a very anticlimactic way. And Italy will just move forward now, and they will face, I believe, it's a rematch against the Philippines, was it? Yeah, it's a rematch against the Philippines. The match that happened on group stage will now happen on semifinals between, once more, top-seeded Italy and high-seeded Philippines.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I'm just trying to navigate the bracket currently.
Well, I have the matchups here.
Yeah.
Most of them are confirmed.
I trust you.
One match. Yeah.
I'm just kind of seeing what it's... Because we have most of the results already, so we know what the quarterfinal matchups are going to be, for the most part.
Yeah, for the winners bracket, we will have Malaysia versus South Korea, and China versus Singapore. And on the losers bracket, we will have Italy versus Philippines, Australia versus Chile, Japan versus the US, and Brazil versus either Canada or France, which is the 2 teams that are playing on the next match.
Yeah, it looks like the only teams left on the winners bracket are the top seeds. including Singapore, who was actually seed 8, just barely a top seed. So, I mean, kudos to them for getting this far.
Yep. Actually, pretty good performance we have seen from the Singaporeans so far in the tournament. But that's it. The win by default has been declared. Italy is the winner of the match here. After 2 matches in a row, they have not played, but they're still in the semifinals somehow.
Interesting.
It's always sad to see a win by default because like some players have been they did put so much practice onto maps, and they're like, yeah, you're just winning, and then
Oh, for sure.
Sure, it's good to win. Like at the end of the day, you want to go as far as possible, but winning it like that with a lot of training wasted, it's just not cool.
As the Twitch chat is pointing out, we didn't see an April ban this match.
Technically, it's still a 100% ban rate, but this time it has not been banned because
well,
it's weird. It's a weird statistic. I will have to like think about it to come out with a good answer.
So Juan, looks like we're waiting for the call from the higher ups about. Well, I guess you are the highest up there is, but well, how are we gonna fill the time until the next match?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I'll imagine we are gonna fill the guy with a little bit of music. Perhaps we could stay like 10 more minutes talking a little bit with the chat if they are interested. Just so that just like not fill the gap with like 30 minutes of music. But any choice is fine. We'll wait for the streamer to see what he thinks about it or feel. But we could take like some minutes of questions here.
Yeah. Well, however we decide to do, the next match will be at. Let me get this right. 17 o'clock UTC. That's it, just in 45 minutes. So yeah, don't leave quite yet.
17 UTC though, is it?
I don't know. I did that off the top of my head. Is that correct? Is that no?
Wait, right
19.
now it's 18 UTC. Yeah, it's 19 UTC.
gosh.
I was like, wait a minute.
Oh, you know what I did? I added 10 instead of adding 12. I always do that. My bad. It's in 45 minutes. That's all you need to know. Juan, do you know any good Osu jokes?
Probably I cannot say those jokes here. I mean, if you want to, oh my god, I was about to say the same thing. Oslive, come on, that's just not cool. I was about to make the same joke.
Ah, wow.
As an Argentinian, I feel offended. Oh my god, that's another one.
Here's a question. What is your favorite amount of keys to play with in Mania? Juan, you're mainly a 4K player, right?
I am, yeah. I enjoy playing 6 key, but 4 key is definitely my jam, I think.
I came from like a 7K background, and of course 4K and 7K are the most popular key modes, and they're the only ones that get their own dedicated World Cups. But I've also like branched down to other key modes. I mapped a lot of 5K back in the day. I love 5K. Done some 6K. Not much 8K, unfortunately, but I have been experimenting with 12K, so that's pretty fun.
What is that question? What color is Tuesday for you? How do I associate a color to a day of the week? I'll probably say yellow. I don't know why, but I will say yellow. Actually, I know I have a good reason of why it will be yellow, but go ahead and say yours first.
Oh, I was gonna say green or blue, I think.
Oh.
So why yellow?
Well, it's pretty interesting because like I'm hosting another tournament on the like a 4K Mania tournament, and we use green for matchups. Like when we do schedule, we do light green for Saturday and darker green for Sunday. And when something gets scheduled to a different day, we usually use yellow. And because most of the matches that got rescheduled got scheduled to Tuesday, I kind of associate yellow with twice a day for some reason. Like, it's just that, really.
Well, that's a good reason. I missed the question earlier. Am I planning on mapping La Di Da Di Da Di Da Di Deo, which is Bill Wirtz's, I think, newest map? No, wasn't currently planning on it, but I believe Vento is actually going to chart that on 4K. Vento, one of our other commentators. So that'll be fun. And sorry, Vento, if you're out there, I kind of spoiled your
Spoilers.
new project, but
Really?
yeah, I mean, the response for Bill Wirtz maps has been like a lot better than I expected, and I guess it's not a type of music that a lot of people have tried mapping before, but you know, it seems pretty popular, so I wouldn't be surprised if you saw some more Bill Wirtz maps come out now. When am I going to destroy the Osu editor? That's a good question.
Didn't you do that already?
Well, I'm in the process currently. I've been discovering, yeah, over the past few weeks, I have discovered some interesting new bugs. Let's see if I want to leak any of them right now. There's this, it's not actually a leak because I actually already released it, but on the Bill Wirtz map outside, there's a separate difficulty called Glitch. And if you play Glitch, what you're going to see is, you see a note come down. And you press it, but then you get a combo break. So what's happening? Then you see the next note come down, and that note is actually a long note N. And what you're looking at is a long note without a body.
Wow, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, you just see the start of the long note and the end of the long note, but there's no middle. Like, you can still hold it down, you can still play it like normal, but interesting visual glitch.
What are these questions by Geomiel? Like, he couldn't play, so he's now like mentioning a lot of weird questions.
What do you think the sound of a pencil hitting the ground tastes like? Let me get a pencil. I can actually do this.
Do I actually have to come up with a smart answer to that?
Alright, let's see if you guys can hear this.
That tastes like wood, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just bringing to me the taste of like dirt because the floor and like pencil lead. Yeah, so that was fun.
Someone here asked though, who do you think is gonna win this Mania World Cup, and what do you think is gonna be the top 3?
Oh, I don't like answering this question.
Well,
so much pressure.
I think that Korea is gonna win the tournament. As much as I will like a close match on the grand finals, I just think that South Korea is one step ahead of everyone. But if I want to see a top 3, if I want to see like a good second place, third place matches, I will totally like to see Malaysia on it. And I would like to see, I think it will be China and Malaysia on the top 3, with South Korea, of course. But I would really like to see an underdog taking that spot. Maybe like, I kind of want to say Japan, or maybe Italy, United States. I'm not really sure what to think about Italy because we haven't really seen them playing. On
yeah,
the
we did. Yeah, they did lose a match in the in the group stages, but we haven't gotten to see them in the knockout stages quite yet. I guess Chile's looking pretty strong, but they did not hold up against Singapore, so maybe Singapore could be the standout player this year.
That could be very interesting, right? Because if Singapore can defeat China on their next matchup, they have a guaranteed spot on the top 3.
Tall order. That's a tall order right there.
Yeah, but they have been playing very well, so have to see if the semifinals level is still on their reach.
I'm gonna pick up some questions that scrolled by while we were talking. Have either of you planned on mapping a song over 300 BPM? I have mapped songs over 300 BPM. I believe. What's it called? Well, I have. It's not that uncommon, I think. Most of it is just like, even though it's high BPM, it's got pretty low snaps, low subdivision, so it's not that bad.
I think I have a couple of maps that are like over 200 BPM already. The first one that comes to mind is in 99, which is like 300 BPM.
Yeah. Let me open Osu and actually I can check what maps I have that are over 300.
I think
Alright.
Dopamine is actually exactly 200, so that doesn't count.
Sorting by BPM. Alright. I'm mapping currently a map by the Quick Brown Fox and Clippa, blankly passing into Mania, kind of a project of mine, and that is 432 BPM.
Nice.
Yeah, and I got more speed core on here. No, this one's just 200. Actually, I guess that's it. That's the only one I have that's over 300. Oh, you know what's happening? Yep, it's sorting by max BPM. So like, if I have an effect in a map that's like 1,000,000 BPM, then that's going first. But yeah, I got some speed core on here. I mapped the Big Black. That's 360 BPM. You know, classic stuff.
Well, technically it's 180, I think, but...
Oh, well... I mean, the middle part is like 1,000,000,000 BPM. It's crazy fast. Yeah, that's that. Speed core. Juan, what's your favorite player of the tournament?
I'll say that, I don't know, it's hard to define what favorite means, but if I'm just basing myself on performances, I'll probably say Chiwi. Like, Chiwi is an amazing tournament player.
That's great. Their performance was absolutely crazy in the quarterfinals.
Across the whole tournament so far, he has been a monster.
Question for me: if America ever wins the Mania World Cup, will you make a video of me worshiping the American flag? I'm not sure.
They already won once.
Oh well, they won the Osu World Cup, didn't they?
4Q World Cup as well in 2015.
Oh, they won the 4Q. Oh, of course, right. Well, I'm afraid I'm not quite at that level of patriotism, but you know, I'm happy to see my country win. Juan, how long does it take you to recover from successfully cursing a player?
Usually like a millisecond or two. Depends on the day. I can just go non-stop.
Oh yeah, wow. Just only a millisecond? That's 1,000 curses a second.
Yeah, easy. Actually, every single time I play it misses while they're playing O's. It's just my fault. That's how fast I am.
Wow, that's a lot of misses. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 40 maps per page. Oh, actually, yeah, it says right here 986 ranked Mania maps. There you go, Scott Piece. 986. Oh, geez, these questions are going too fast. I'm gonna just do one after the other. What can we do to convince people to play more 7K? Make 7K maps. That's... I don't know, that's it. Juan, will you map 7K?
I actually did. I think I mapped like 1 or 2 maps already. One is like Senorita Bonita, I think it's called. Like from the weather. It is on one of my Long No compilations. It's a Long No map.
Oh, that's cool. You guys brushing your teeth and eating your vegetables? I have brushed my teeth this morning, and I'm going to eat my vegetables right after I'm done commentating.
I didn't have my vegetables just yet, but I definitely brushed my teeth.
Oh, my computer's being weird. Alright. Loser... I don't know what this says. When is Map Pool Showcase? God. The Map Pool Showcase will be after the last map, France versus Canada, I believe, which will be in an hour and 30, the showcase.
Oh god. There's just so many questions, but unfortunately I think we have to close it down right now. We still have 50 more minutes for the match, but we're gonna have a little bit of a cut with music, as we were saying last time. So I hope to see you all around for that one. It's a bit of a like southern break here, but we're gonna use it. We need to discuss something. It's not that big of a deal, but we will be back in around 15 minutes to 20. Remember that you can buy yourself a banner on the O store if you want to support one team that is still on the bracket stage. You can go take one for yourself. It will stay on your profile, and if you happen to pick the team that wins the tournament, it will stay for a little bit longer. So it's only $2.5, and it's pretty fancy. So go and check it out.
That's
And
right.
with that being said, we're seeing you in like 15-20 minutes. we are back with the match between Canada and France on the Mania 7 Keyboard Cup 2018. Once again, Juan Crystal talking with Nibrad OO.
Hello! So this is here, Canada versus France, the last match of the quarterfinals.
Yep, this is going to be the last match of the quarterfinals weekend, and once again we're having a little bit of difficulties finding the Canadian players this time around.
Oh no.
So yeah, well, we're waiting. They still have 4 minutes until the match timer starts. We have to wait and see if the Canadian team actually ends up with enough players to play this time. They have 4, so I believe that Ansimer is not gonna play this one, but Dodd should be around, and same for the rest of the team.
Let's hope it'd be really sad to have 2 win by defaults in a row.
Yeah, back-to-back win by default.
This is the loser's bracket. Question from the chat.
Yes, it
so
is.
Whoever loses this match will be knocked out of the tournament, which means if Canada doesn't show up, No, this is too bad because Canada and France is actually a really close matchup. They're both mid-seed teams, and they're actually seated very close to each other. And I think they're going to be pretty similar skill-wise, as long as they have a full roster to play.
It will be pretty unfortunate if Canada ends up in this scenario. Currently, there's a little bit of silence because I'm like trying to talk with the Canadian captain, see what we can do.
Oh, that's good.
So,
glad you're working things out. For people just tuning in for this match, it's supposed to start in 3 minutes, but we do not have a full roster we don't have enough players from Canada to play the match. So Canada will be given 15 minutes to get another person online so they can play this match. Oh, and after this match is the semifinals map pool showcase. If there is a win by default, we will probably be doing the map pool showcase early. So while we're waiting, we can take more questions. If you get anything you want to ask the commentators, or besides that, just enjoy the music. So, I'm gonna level with you guys. I was just eating some ramen, but I just finished it, so now I can focus on commentating. Oh, chat is going kind of fast. How do you pronounce the title of the song? I do not know. I'm so sorry. If Canada doesn't find a player, will they be disqualified? Yes, this is the losers bracket, so the team that loses this match, and Canada will lose the match if they don't show up, will be knocked out of the tournament. Can you move to Canada and join in? Unfortunately, the registration for the World Cup is already over. You're gonna have to wait till next year. Is Japan gonna win again? Who knows? What do you think would happen if Canada showed up? I think it would be a really close match. I actually can't call it. I think France is very good on accuracy, and I think that might, or they have been in previous years, and that might give them the edge, but Canada is also a very strong team. Oh, jeez. Ooh. It's pronounced banger tune. Thank you, Osu Live. Am I Japanese? I am actually Korean. Yeah, match time is here, which means the 15-minute timer has started, and if Canada doesn't show up in 15 minutes, we will be moving on to the map pool showcase. Do most pro players use only mouse or mouse and keyboard? For Osu Standard, I believe most pro players actually use mouse and keyboard, and actually there's a large percentage of people that use tablet and keyboard, like a drawing tablet. But this is Mania, so everyone here uses a keyboard. For those people commenting on my accent, I live in America. I've lived in America most of my life, so that's why I sound like an American. When did you start playing Osu? That's a fun question. Or Os, actually. I've been pronouncing Os wrong this entire time, and no one's corrected me, but it is pronounced Os. I started playing rhythm games on a Flash-based game called Feel the Beats. It's a 7K game that was, it was really small, but it had this really nice community. Unfortunately, the game was taken down, and we all just kind of migrated to Osu. But yeah, that's how I started playing, and it was a pretty natural place to go since it has all sorts of key modes, so it has something for everyone. This is the last match of the weekend, yes. After this is the map pool showcase, and then you guys can just wait another week, I guess, for more Mania. Why aren't there any Middle Eastern teams? That's a difficult question to ask, but I think a lot of what happens with teams in the World Cup is that it has to do with the culture. Obviously, in some developing countries, there's not a lot of access to computers or, video games, so that explains some of it. But also, it's just places like Korea and other Eastern countries has a sort of the esports culture that's been developing. And that's why they're so strong in a lot of esports, not necessarily because they're better, but just because it's normal to be an esports player, and they look up to esports players the same way we in America would look up to football players. And that's just what I've heard. I don't live in Korea, I couldn't tell you, but I think that has something to do with why there are not any Middle Eastern teams, or any African teams for the matter. And no, Macau is not an African country. If I had the chance to play on one of these teams today and I had to choose one, which would it be? That's an interesting question. I think Canada, so that we could actually have a match. Who do I think is gonna win? We covered this question earlier, but Korea is definitely the strongest contender for the win. They have won most of the previous 7K World Cups, and their rank, as far as overall rank goes, is just way above everyone else's. In fact, I believe their average rank of the top 2 players is like 5.5. Did Germany win against Australia? need to check on that actually. Australia actually won the Germany versus Australia match, so Germany has been knocked out of the tournament. Unfortunately. That's what happens. It's the knockout stages. Where is Juan? Juan is... yes, Juan is flying out to Canada. Juan is just working on getting the Canada team here. He is the tournament organizer after all, so he's got a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. Does OSU World Cup have a Taiwan team, or are they part of China? Yes, Taiwan does get their separate team. Unfortunately, Taiwan is not participating in the Mania World Cup. It's a small country, there's not a lot of people there. I guess not really a country. But we have had a Taiwan team before. You are very well spoken. Thank you. I try. Why is Jackad so good? Lots of practice. How come there's only one Stepmania or DDR themed OSU Mania skins when you can do a lot more? Well, I mean, I think there are a lot of skins out there. It's just that people don't really see them because there's not like a single place where you can deposit your skins and have people download them. But yeah, I'm so far behind. I'm just gonna go like rapid fire off the questions. You're saying the Middle East are undeveloped or they don't give much attention to gaming industry? Yeah, I think that's what happens. That's something that has to do with it. How's my day been? Very good, thank you. I woke up and I started commentating. Why is Romania so bad at OSU?
Machine gun of questions, man.
What do you do when your friends call you a weeb for playing OSU? Just own up to it. Be a weeb and be proud. Should I make coffee or tea? I like tea better.
Yes, I agree.
Do you like playing more slower OSU games or faster? Definitely faster.
Slower.
I think faster is more exciting, but I do like the slow ones too. It's more relaxing. How much longer is the wait? We have 9 minutes left until win by default. Is this match going to happen? I sure hope so. Is Poland on the ranking? I don't think we had a Do we? No, we did. We had a Poland team this year.
Yeah. We had.
Why is practice good for you?
Makes you
kind of a given. Okay, where do I live? No, that's not for me. Is Nibrat sped up? No, this is how I talk. And I just caught up. There we go. Whew.
Easy. Who's making the graphics? Flight, actually, I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Flight doing great work in the internals of OSU. How to beat JH Lee.
Being better than him.
I wish I knew.
I wish I knew, son. The same.
So this is a good question for people who might not be used to the game mode who are just tuning in. OSU Mania is one of the 4 game modes of OSU. It's played like on a keyboard. It's like a vertical scrolling rhythm game, so it's similar to DDR or Guitar Hero. You hit the notes when they go to the bottom of the screen. Here's a question for you, Juan.
What do you feel about Argentina in Mania World Cup? 7 key. I mean, I think they did quite alright. No one really expected them to get out of groups. It's just a shame that they lost by default. That's it.
Whew, I need some time to breathe.
Go ahead.
Yes, I will.
I'm covering you.
Alright, yes, I will marry you, by the way.
What mode do you like the most? Well, I want to say Mania. Probably Standard will be my second choice. Although I really like the mode Standard. Like the game, it's not that I like much else. It's just mechanically fun to play.
We do have a tournament for every OSU mode, actually. We have the OSU World Cup, the Taiko World Cup, the Catch World Cup, and we have 2 Mania World Cups. We have 4K and 7K. That's 4 keys and 7 keys.
Yep, we have a preferential treatment, which is perfectly fine because, I mean, technically we still have one leaderboard. We should have different leaderboards for different key modes. That will be so much better.
So what's the hardest song I've played? Oh, breathe. Okay, you're gonna want to contract your lungs to expel air from your... what's the hardest song you've played? It's hard to say.
Song or map?
I guess as far as like ranked maps go, my top score is on... Like, I haven't played Mania seriously in a long time, but I'm checking right now. I passed Mania Masterpiece, which
nice.
is, you know, pretty well known. Yeah, I guess that would have to be it. Oh, I also passed Ascension to Heaven. Good on me. I do believe we have good news from the Canada side of the match. Looks like we're gonna have 2 players. So yeah, do not leave. We're gonna be seeing Canada versus France if all things go well. Ooh, favorite map? That's a good question. There's just so many good maps out there. You know, it's really hard to choose one that stands out over the others. I'm a big fan of Kitsaku Maz Golem by Wizard of Fail. I think that's a good classic map. As far as 7K goes, oh geez, I don't know. Yeah, I never really thought about it. Will I chart more Bill words? I'm thinking about it. The thing about Bill words is that obviously all the songs are distinct, but it's a lot of the same style. So, I mean, I don't usually map a lot of songs from one artist. I like to go between lots of different artists. Cats! I'm a cat person! Love cats!
Same, actually. Cats are better than dogs.
Juan, how much longer will the profile banners be available?
Until the end of the tournament, you can get one, I feel. I'm not so sure how much longer it will stay after the tournament is over. I think it stays for a couple of weeks for if you pick any team, and if you pick the winner, it stays for the rest of the year, I want to say. I'm not 100% sure.
This is a good question. How do you begin playing 7K? Interesting thing about 7K is that a lot of the top 7K players came from different 7K games. That would be your LR2, VMS, O2 Jam, I guess, I don't know, Jubeat. I don't really know what Jubeat is, actually. But there's really nothing to do but to start playing. I think a lot of people start on 4K and then move up to 7K, so that's a reasonable way to approach it. But personally, I think there's nothing wrong with just starting on 7K. I mean, there's maps of all difficulties, so, you know, start yourself with a 1-star map, and, you know, just start practicing.
Like one day.
Yeah! Okay, maybe not that one. Maybe you should start with a different 1-star map.
Alright, it seems like we are finally settled here. We see the 2 teams already showing here. Ansimer, Dot, Elementaires, and Antoa. Canada and France will begin the match finally, just in time.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, thankfully we're gonna see the match happening. I was a bit afraid at first, but fortunately we ended up having 2 Canadians to play this one, so that's good.
Alright, that question and answer time was fun, but I gotta get back in the game mood now. We're going to start with warm-ups.
Gonna start with Platinum first. It's a bit unfortunate here though, because I feel that, like, I've been talking with Odd recently, and Canada doesn't seem to be that much prepared, even with without like just barely hitting the game, like just being around. Like, they're not only unprepared for that, but also they didn't prepare the map all that much, I feel. So that could be interesting. France could definitely capitalize out of points like Core Jail, One Day, Outside, or even Good Bounce, which are, all of them have like minor SVs or harsh SVs.
Oh, yeah.
I'll imagine that Canada should do alright on Core Jail, like on Core Jail. Given it's just really a slow jump. Although the pattern is pretty rude at the intro, but it's really just that. Here we are then with Platinum being the first warm-up here. All the Canadians will have to warm up a little bit here because they're gonna need it. They literally just logged in.
Yeah, and this is a bit of a harsh warm-up too. It's a bit denser than we're usually used to seeing in the quarterfinals.
It's interesting to see that Antoa is actually performing fairly well on this. Have been seeing him performing very... don't want to say poorly, because he was just very, very nervous, but definitely not as strong as we would initially expect him to play, considering his rank and his performance on other maps on the single-player mode.
It is worth noting that Canada is falling behind as far as accuracy goes. Of course, we usually try not to call things based on warm-ups alone, but you know, it's hard not to be worried for Canada.
Oh, there's people asking for some recommendations of matches to see of this weekend. I will probably tell you to go and watch Australia versus Germany and Japan as well.
Japan versus Indonesia, yeah.
Yeah, Japan-Indo was very good.
Yeah, that's both of the lower seed. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. The losers bracket matches we've seen.
That's correct, because the other one was a win by default. Those were the only two. This is gonna be the third and last one. Here we see, seems like Dawn and Ansem are starting to warm up a little bit here. They are recovering a little bit. Their ratios are going up, but they're not quite up there on the level of friends here. Lementes and Anto are just playing overall better on those warm-ups, which makes sense. They have been warming up, and Canada just logging in will have a little bit of trouble. At least on the very first maps.
I do believe France has a stronger performance in the single note style charting, so that might have given them the advantage in this song as well.
That's a fair argument. I'll say that Canada has overall stronger accuracy than France, but given this level of difficulty, when it's starting to be less about accuracy and more about just being able to pull those patterns off, I'll say that France is looking a little bit better with Antoine. If he's performing as he's just did on the Platinum, he should be fine. France should be fine. So let's see now. Air is the map here, I believe.
Oh, interesting. Another BMS pick.
Yep. I think we're having some client difficulties. I'm not so sure if you're seeing the same as I'm.
I'm sure it'll be resolved shortly.
And there we go. Yep. Some technical difficulties.
Well, that's alright. We can give them some space while they do their warm-ups.
Yep, shouldn't be that much of an issue. Thankfully, it just happened on the world map, so it's not really anything that will damage the integrity of the match.
So interesting, I think, that both teams kind of chose similar styles of maps for warm-ups. Obviously, a lot of times people just choose meme maps or, just songs they like for warm-ups. But in this case, it seemed that they were both focusing more on the BMS patterning.
Yeah, probably we just things they are sort of comfortable with. I'll imagine Canada going for something that is comfortable for them makes a lot of sense, given they actually need proper warm-up. And France just, in general, isn't that well known for producing any sort of meme maps as warm-up, so just going for another thing that they are sort of familiar with.
Looks like the stream is back, and France is once again taking the lead on these, the single note patterns. I'm gonna say it's not looking good for April 14th here.
It's not looking good for Elementaries either, as he's having some internet connections issues.
Well, it's been an eventful warm-up, but hopefully none of these things happen during the match. Of course, if a player actually disconnects during a match, and it's within the first 30 seconds, everyone does replay the song, but if it's after 30 seconds, they just straight up lose that match. Lose that point.
Is it me or this map has like a lot of empty space that it feels pretty weird? I don't know if it is like a sync issue or it's just that the map it's ignoring a lot of things.
Oh, I think actually that's kind of a trademark of BMS style mapping.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
Because on BMS style, I guess, games, they have key sounds, so every note corresponds to a single sound in the song, no more, no less. So in some cases, it's hard to have medium levels of density. Like either you include the strong stream layer or you don't include it, And I guess putting a break in the middle of a song is kind of a thing that a lot of BMS mappers did.
Here we are, we see the rolls already. Dot gets 82 and beats the 79 by Elementars. That's impressive. That's a big win there. So that means that France will be banning first. They're gonna ban 1 day, although Canada probably not as prepared. That's a good ban for the Canadians. And they're probably going for an outside ban here, I will assume. Maybe April 14. We don't know quite yet. Is this gonna be April? Is this gonna be outside? Might we be something else? It's outside. April 14 is actually open. For the first time, there's no bans for April 14. Then what's gonna be the first pick by Canada? That's the question now.
Wait. We didn't ban April? Oh! Whoa, that's crazy.
I'm gonna go straight into 7 colors. That was the first selection here by Dodd, by the Canadian team. I'm gonna try and open it up with probably one of the most mixed picks in the entire pool, I will say. Maybe a little, I mean, it doesn't have the speeds, if I recall correctly, but it has a pretty chunk of, a pretty big amount of long notes at the very ending. And during the intro and middle sections, it's pretty, it's long note oriented, but it also requires a pretty good amount of control when it comes to rise pattern. So, probably the most mixed map of the whole pool.
I think this is a good way for the teams to kind of feel each other out, because before committing to choosing only this type of map or something like that.
It's sort of a good indicator, I'll say. It's an interesting opening pick. In general, this map gets saved for like the end of the matchup when you have like a 3-4 or 3-3 scenario. Because overall, the two teams know each other a little bit. They know their strengths and their weaknesses. And it's general just a long no versus Rise map. And sometimes the Rise team just takes all the Rise picks and the long nodes take all the long nodes. And at the end of the day, we just see maps like this one being played at last because they are more risky. They need different skill sets to perform well on it.
Gotcha, yeah. Looks like France is once again taking the lead at the beginning of this match. Despite Dot having the highest accuracy of a 99.2, it's not quite enough to carry Canada, and we do have a drop from Ansemer coming out.
Yeah, Ansemer is struggling a lot as well on this beat map. You can see his screen is probably... Yeah, he's actually holding the lower accuracy. Dot is holding pretty strong on this, but it's not going to be enough just by him. See into this sort of stay-up patterns. We see everyone coming through it just fine on the French side, but Canada is just struggling way harder than we expected on this map, I will say.
Yeah, Ansemer's accuracy dropping down to 97.6, below the 98 mark, while both the France players are holding, actually, Elementar's just clawed his way up into the 99.0 territory, and still more combo drops coming out from Canada's side.
It's just the combo breaks, really. I will say that accuracy-wise, Dot is just outclassing everyone on the French team, and Ansemer is not that much behind of Antoa. It's just that the combo drops are being a bit too much in favor of the French team, because accuracy-wise they're pretty tied up to each other. Sure, France has a little bit of an advantage, but it's not that big. So I believe everything could still be decided on the long nose section. Elementar's finds a drop over there, so this could be very interesting coming to the end.
Oh yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if it swung in the island section. It looks like Antoa is still pulling full combo, which is very impressive, of course. And another drop from France. The score is not changing, though.
It's getting closer, though. Antoa is not holding a full combo, though. He got a couple of misses already, but he's definitely having the highest combo of the match. But here we go into the long no dense section. Elementar is finding misses on the rolls, and Ansemer as well trading. He's just having a lot of issues with this particular part.
Antoa finally dropping his huge combo as well, leaving Dot... Oh, never mind, Dot also dropping, and that... I'm so sorry, guys. And it looks like the drops come from every player, but still the advantage is only growing for France.
Yeah, it seems like those traders ended up favoring France a lot more, considering that Ansemer dropped down to the 96 over there. And both of the French players are still holding similar accuracies, 98.18. Dot, again, outclassing it, but it's not going to be enough just by him. I feel this match can still be potentially very close, just a matter of warming up a little bit more and have Ansemer playing just slightly better than this, and he probably will be enough. France has to be careful with what they're going to pick now. They're definitely going to take this one, though.
So there is France taking the first point, and actually a break point, because that was Canada's pick, and we get France's going on with their second... Nope, the second pick of the match, France's first pick.
It's going to be April 14 instantly.
Yes. All right, everyone, this is the last match of the weekend. We are playing April 14th, the first time it's going to be played, and the last time it's going to be played. This map, Juan, what would you say about this map?
What I want to say about this map, I'm just happy to see it. Like, it's cool to see all the maps being played at least once. And about this one, it's a bag of mixed feelings, I will say. Because I personally really like this type of maps, because, you know, full sort of inverse, very, very long no heavy. It's not really physically demanding. It's just that in 7 key, I always find more complicated patterns that includes multiple layer of long notes. Just because of the fact that unless you're using shift or like control as your keys, which is the thing that most 7 key players do, ghosting can be a big issue on maps like this if your keeper cannot support 7 presses at the same time. But other than that, I really like this kind of maps in general, but it's a very polarized map as well. It's very easy to get a very bad score if you just miss 1 or 2 pods.
All the chats are blowing up right now, but yes, for those who don't know, April 14th is a 100% long note map. It's mapped in inverse, which means that the spaces in between the long notes are mapped to the music. And it's a very, strategically speaking, it's a very interesting pick, and unfortunately it's been banned every time, meaning that it wasn't available for the map strategy, but considering that Canada is less prepared for this match, I believe there was an issue with not knowing which players were going to play. I think France was betting on Canada not having practiced this one.
And there you have already a little bit of an introduction of what this map looks like. 5 layers of long notes there. And there you have Ansimer is just not able to keep up with it. He's having many
drop
coordination
after
issues.
Drop. He's already dropped down below 80%, while the others in the room are holding at least A's. Antoa with the only S currently in the map. It's so slow, and there's so few notes, but just knowing exactly when to release all of them can be so difficult, and none of the people in the match are currently keeping their combo.
Literally everyone is fighting to even hold on to the S rank here. Antoa, who's the only one still on that fight, is finding constant drops as well, and Ansimer just gave up completely. They're not even trying anymore.
Oh, he stopped playing. Ooh. Yeah, I mean, I gotta empathize for him. Sympathize for him. I know the feeling.
I will say the map can wall you out of the way. I will say. Mania puns.
Yes, but I gotta say, if this is the only map in the World Cup that causes a rage quit, I guess I can't be surprised.
Hey, but he's still holding solid with that 33% accuracy.
Yes. So Antoa still putting up a strong performance. He has dropped out of the 95% range, so losing his S. The other 2 players, Dot and Elementaires, are down below 90%. They have Bs now. But of course, it doesn't matter because France is playing with 2 people and Canada is currently playing with 1. Oh, forgive me if I made a mistake. It might not have been the first one causing a rage quit, but it's the first one I've seen.
Definitely the first one I've seen too, I think. I mean, not in the history of World Cups in general, but at least on this stage for sure.
Yep, and looks like France is taking a 2-0 lead.
Pretty well thought pick, I will say, trying to sort of tilt the opponents, I guess. Because France isn't particularly strong at the speed map either, but they managed to pull that point out of the way anyway.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting idea, to pick a map that you're bad at because you think the other team will be even worse. And I think that's what happens when you have a map where most of them come from like a BMS background and are better on the single note picks.
It kind of is. Well, now Canada has to pick, so I wonder if they're just gonna go straight for more rice things. I will say that Passage D is a good pick here for the Canadians, just solely for the fact that France might just choke a lot on it, and that could give the opportunity for Dot to make up for that difference. But they're going for Ginga Test though, so we're gonna see some Penguin action here.
Alright, yeah, it's a very popular pick, of course, and I think a safe one to start off, not trying to pull a fast one over France, just trying to get a point off, maybe.
Gonna see now Ginga Testo no Penguin. This is a Jacat's map, if I recall correctly.
That's right. He's a great mapper.
I can see this map as well being pretty good for Canada overall. Like, France should do alright on this, but it's very hard to predict how good France will be, considering that Antoa has been very inconsistent on previous stages.
That is true. I didn't think about that. That's an important point to make. This Penguin, it has patterns. Well, the thing about Penguin is that it's a slow map with dense patterns, which means you have more jack patterns, more anchor patterns, and less chord streaming. So, this is not really a type of pattern we've seen these people play before in this round. Maybe that'll trip them up.
Here we go. Third map of the pool selected here. And Antoa is struggling a little bit on this jack. I think he got a bad judgment already, which gonna be giving the lead to Canada.
Yeah, a couple of bad judgments. Of course, it's just the very beginning. There's practically nothing here, but a bad omen, I guess. A bad omen for the rest of the map. Canada is holding on to this lead, even though Antoa has climbed back up to the 99%, as we would expect. Ansimer with the 98, I believe 98.3, still bringing up the rear, but Dot is... Oh no, actually the score has gone back into France's favor.
Yeah, but it's still fairly close here. The accuracies are quite similar. I believe Ansimer is on the 98.3, which is the main big difference here, although Dot is holding incredibly strong accuracy here, 99.86. So it's just a matter of trying to hold on through this one. Oh, Ansimer just almost rushing there, almost missing. Got a 50 actually. Still holding the full combo, which is going to help him a lot if they want to recover. That's a miss on one of the stairs.
Oh yeah, and France still holding as consistent as always with a pair of 99.3, 99.4 accuracies and no drops, even though Canada both have lost their combo.
France is looking quite strong here, even with the accuracy disadvantage compared to Dot. They're still pulling it out. Team-wise, they are performing just stronger. Elementaire is finding a drop just before those long stairs, but it's not gonna matter as Ansimer equalized that with another drop on his own. This is just going to be decided on the ending, how much Antoa and Elementaires can just hold on to it.
Oh, that's true. This is one of the maps where the density is all focused on the ending. But France does have a 300-point lead, so Canada's going to have a hard task ahead of them if they want to come back.
Here we go then, last quarter of the song, last chance for Canada to recover onto this one. There's still a big gap, I'll say 30,000. They will need a huge amount of breaks by the French team in order to come back to this one. It's another miss for Ansimer, not gonna help much. And France is just holding on to this pretty well. Antoa though finding a miss over there. Equalized by Ansimer, now Dot as well dropping, and Elementaires, everyone is just dropping their combos here. They don't have any time to recover here. As much as Canada or France might end up losing combo through this section, it's not gonna matter all the match as not many nodes are remaining, but Elementaires is starting to tank a little bit. The score's getting closer, but it won't be enough. This map is almost over.
Yeah, France takes the third point in a 3-0 against Canada.
Look at the ratio difference there. Oh my goodness,
wow.
God.
I mean, I wish I could say that there's some like secret strategy that Canada can pull out right here, but really the fact of the matter is that Elementaires and Antoa just perform better than Ansimer.
And over here, actually, Antoa gets a better score than Dot, just by a couple of hundreds. Although that ratio difference, a little bit weird to see that advantage.
France is once again going for the long node pick.
It makes sense, to be honest. I think Ansimer is just not comfortable with those type of patterns.
It is one of the easier maps, even though it has long nodes, but like, you know, I don't usually think of France as a long note team, but I mean, it seems like they know what they're doing.
You're gonna see then introductions and variations here. I'm not particularly agreeing with the fact that this is the easier long note map in the pool. I'll say 7 days, if you consider that as a long note pick anyway. Certainly easier than April 14 though. It's like the middle ground.
You mean seven colors? Yeah, 7 colors has some. Alright, sure. Let's say this is the easiest full long note pick.
I guess. Actually, yeah, Shanghai Kochak Han is also kind of difficult on its own different way, but this one is more into releases, which is sort of tricky, I will say, for most players. You can see Ansimer having a lot of trouble with this one, as predicted.
Yeah, France already taking a 20,000 point lead about, and just more drops coming from Canada's side.
That's a drop for Daw though. Ansimer is just constantly dropping the combo and not being able to hold on to his accuracy either. But that miss for Daw is just clinical. They needed that combo to stay up if they wanted any chance to recover into this one. The miss from Elementor is definitely gonna help that recovery, but Ansimer is just not making it. He's not able to pull this one out at all. And Anto is just completely destroying this beat map. Look at him going, 99.16, still full comboing, even through these difficult releases. He's actually even matching Dodd.
Yeah, Anto, despite the inconsistent performances of the previous stages, is really pulling his weight here, and France looks out to be a lot stronger than I was personally predicting.
There goes the miss though, not gonna get a full combo over there. The ending is pretty brutal, and you can see that Anto has struggled a little bit. And there's 100,000 points of difference again in favor of France. A pretty quick match it looks like. Canada needs to pick now, and they had to do it smartly, because if they lose, they're out of the tournament. They're fighting now for the tournament lives.
That's right. But, I mean, yeah, 4-0, France, this is match point. So if France wins the next point, France will be moving on to the semifinals in the losers bracket, and Canada will be kicked out unless they can pull a win out of this situation, and they are choosing Good Bounce, the BMS style map of the pool.
Alright, so Good Bounce could be the goodbye for Canada. They're gonna try their best in order to make that not a thing. Ansimer and Dot, in what it could be their last map of the tournament for them, will try to pull that out on a BMS oriented style beat map here. Good Bounce has a pretty tricky SV at the intro, and a couple of them that are also pretty difficult if you're not familiar with the map, so have to see if Canada can side read them fine or not.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're already having a miss out in the intro, and looks like the SVs did catch them by surprise. I saw their presses coming out early before the notes hit the judgment bar because they were caught off guard by the slowdown. And that will give France the lead already, dropped by Antua, but it doesn't really mean anything at this point.
Yeah, scores are getting quite close though, so I wouldn't count that out of the way. Elementor is having some accuracy struggles there, but a miss from Ansimer is gonna just equalize that difference once back in favor of France. But I will argue the scores aren't that far away this time around. Ansimer can just get back into the game on this one. They might still have a chance to recover here, but
closer for sure.
Yeah, the Spanish are just too dense, it seems, for Ansimer. Even Dodd is finding misses.
Ooh, and Antua comboing. Okay, well he did combo past the dance section, which is what I was gonna say. So I don't think that counts as a curse. But yeah, lead continues to grow in France's favor as the map progresses.
yeah, Canada's just not gonna be able to pull this one back, I think. Unless something crazy happens. This looks already decided in favor of France by quite a big margin again, but the amount of misses across the board on this beat map is a bit worrying, I will say, considering that semifinals is after this, like next weekend, whoever wins this match, they're struggling with this. Semifinals are gonna get harder.
I mean, this is, I think, probably the densest map in the pool. It's the card games here are nothing to shake a stick at.
That's fair enough.
But yeah, semifinals, if I am predicting correctly, should be at least this hard at the minimum.
Here we are, the map is about to conclude, and the last SV is not gonna make up for that huge difference in favor of France. With 140,000 points, they're gonna take the victory for themselves and wait until next weekend, where they're gonna face no other than the mighty team of Brazil, the South Americans.
Ooh. Yeah, that's not going to be an easy matchup for France.
Definitely not, especially considering that Brazil is well known for their long no capabilities.
Oh yeah.
I'll say France will not be able to show up picks like they did this time around with 7 colors and vv240312280. I'll say that Brazil will probably have the upper hand on those kind of things.
Let's have a moment of respect for Canada, who has just been knocked out of the Mania World Cup 2018 7K. They definitely had a bit of a disadvantage going into this round, not just because they hadn't warmed up. I believe Ansimer had problems with his hand or something is what I'm hearing, and also the fact that he wasn't expected to prepare for this match. So yeah, Canada unfortunately not taking any points off of France.
Yeah, but hey, as you can see on the title here, we come together. That's what Canada sort of did. Besides all the unfortunate situations, they managed to pull out the team and play regardless.
They showed up.
Yeah, I respect that. Like, I respect that thing, even though they were not like very prepared for it. Just showing up and trying their best. I mean, arguably, Ansimer just gave up on one of the maps, and that's kind of sad, but they both tried. And that's what they should think.
Oh, you know, and Ansimer is mainly a 4K player too, so that would, I believe, I hope I'm not just spewing misinformation here, but that would definitely make it hard to play a 7K long node pick if you're not used to using all 7 fingers.
Well, yeah. If you don't have like the muscle memory to use 7 different fingers, you're gonna have a hard time playing 7 key.
So now that the last match of the quarterfinals is over, we're going to be going into the semifinals map pool showcase.
That's correct. We're gonna jump straight into it, and we have Flower Flag as the first beat map here. So we already see a 17 bar chart on the map pool, so we can only expect to see long nose in this, I'll say.
Ooh, 17 VA, yeah. Like a really old mapper, has been around for a long time and known for just pushing out insane long node maps. This one is OD 7.5, HP 8.7, CPM 160, length 4 minutes and 26 seconds. Very long map. And star rating 5.95 stars. And it is a long node map with that high of a star rating. It's gonna get really dense real soon.
In general, when you're making maps that are LN oriented, star rating, especially on 7K, tends to boom up out to very, very high levels. So some patterns might just feel a little bit overrated, and I think it's kind of the case for this beat map. This is probably the easier long node map of the pool. At least that's what the map selectors think, though. They have called us in previous stages that Lumen was the easy one, and some people were disagreeing. Although I think you were agreeing on that one, like Introduction being the easy one.
In any case, this is we're going up a step, of course, in semifinals. So even though it's mostly testing just basic long note skills, these releases are going to require a lot of concentration, and you do have to keep it up for 4.5 minutes. I think that's the real kicker here.
Yeah, it's just like not necessarily the physical stamina, but the mental stamina as well. Like, just being at your 100% throughout 4.5 minutes, it's definitely a hard task for a lot of players. And especially, you'll see on the ending, the map will get a little bit more dense. So you have to somehow like reserve some stamina just for the ending as well. So it's a pretty interesting selection here. It has a lot of different approaches that a player can use when they are facing a map like this.
Yeah, the section we just got past, we had a lot of those like only long note patterns, inverse patterns that's just been littered throughout this map.
Yeah, the releases overall on this one are pretty tricky. They are visually appealing, but that doesn't mean they are easy by any means.
There's definitely a very distinct, I think, visual style of 17VA maps, and it's just, I guess, what makes them such a well-known mapper. Or at least they were back in the day. I'm not sure if they're still active, but yeah, not easy to time those. This is like what I call hanging long notes. It's when the first long note in a series doesn't end when the next long note starts, but rather continues a little bit more. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, those like, yeah, extended releases is the way I call them, but yeah.
Extended, that's good, yeah. Definitely more of an O2 Jam style map.
I try to implement that on my 4-key maps, and some people are kind of tilted by that fact because it's really difficult to just hold the loads for a little bit longer than what you normally would expect to release them. We have a little bit of a slow jump here just before the ending.
Fun.
That seems to be a common trend on LN maps in general. Not only on 7-key but also on 4-key. There's always like that sneaky SV at one point, but here we are a little bit denser for this particular ending. You can see the layers of long notes are getting a little bit harsher. I think you need to like have 2 layers of long notes throughout most of these patterns at least, and then of course like multiple mini releases.
Now we're getting into the inverse parts of the ending with the, like, an entire hand will be taken up by inverse patterning while you still have single note streams going on.
They look appealing though. It's not as harsh as it could probably be, but it's definitely very demanding on your like hands coordination. That ending though, that little, like those last 5 seconds, we're gonna see a lot of bricks on that part. Like that pattern just looks ugly. But that's it for the first map of the semifinals pool. Now we're gonna jump straight into BBB, Nightmare difficulty, a map by Ankle.
So this map has a lot of technical patterns. And technical is a word that gets thrown around a lot. But what we mean here is that it's got chord streams as you'd expect from a high density map, single note map. But it's also got jacks. We're seeing them right now actually. A series of mini jacks coming out in the left and right hands. And there's going to be some bursts. There's going to be a slow jam. Another slow jam, so go figure. But yeah, there's just lots of different types of patterns.
Yeah, more of a bursty nature though, I will argue. It is sort of dense at parts, you can see there. But most of the difficulty here comes from just burst in general and mini jacks like there. And it gets fast and faster. As you can see, the VVM fluctuates between 135 and 480. So it can get very fast at points. But it's just that it's very hard to time as the VVM just changes constantly. It's not a constant rhythm.
And here we have more of those jack patterns, but here they're just back to back, like jacksing every pair of notes, I guess.
There we go, speed up here. Pretty fast patterns over there. The burst getting a little bit more linear throughout that very fast section. But the slower they are,
yeah, it is getting denser at the end as it gets faster and faster. Just like the last map, Flower Flag, this has the difficulty spike at the end, but we are through it, and that is the end of VVB. Oh, never mind, we have that one last note. And now we're done.
Oh, the next one is gonna be the favorite for me probably. This is
The
gonna be White Force. This is a lovely map. I think a lot of people is familiar with this already. I'm not sure about you.
I don't believe I'm very familiar with this one actually. It's Flipside. White Force is mapped by Digo Baka. Interesting, it's OD6, which will be very helpful for timing those long node releases because the long node releases in this map are very unforgiving.
Yeah, you can just see throughout the whole map that the releases are gonna get very, very, very interesting. You can see that over there on the left hand, it's not as complicated as it could be, but are really showing that you're gonna need a lot of finger coordination to get those releases fine. It's a pretty short map as well, but it can get very, very brutal. It gets a bit dumpy right on the chorus, so we're gonna wait and see that section. Everyone will just notice the difficulty increasing.
I'm gonna say that this is kind of like similar patterns to Flower Flag, the other long node pick that we've seen, but harder, right? This map is 6.2 stars. We're now getting into 6-star levels just as a course of action. Here we're seeing more of those long node streams that we're talking about with the extended releases, the hanging releases, whatever you want to call it. But at the same time, you're also doing single node streams.
And there we have pretty dense release timings there. It's just a lot of multiple long nodes at the same time. And all of the releases being at pretty much different times makes it very, very complicated to time. There is a pattern because the long nodes are in general all the same size. So you can't just pay attention to the timing you are holding instead of just the timing where you're releasing, and it should be fine, but that trick is very hard to pull out.
Ooh, those symmetrical patterns at the end. Very O2 jam, I might say. But those have some interesting anchors in those streams. Not going to be easy. I'm expecting a lot of misses in that part, even though our player here, Aitor, seems to be doing fine. But it is a short map, only 2 minutes. We're moving on to Hinoisuka, Delightful Brightness, mapped by QODJTR. This is a court stream map, and we're about to get into it right now, I believe. No, there's a little bit more build up. But this is not a long node pick, it's more about the denseness. Very dense, 190 BPM, and lots of bracket patterns.
Yeah, it's pretty much just that. It's also a pretty short one, it's around 2 minutes. But it's very, very dense, 190 BPM. It's pretty low BPM, but still, the amount of density this speed map has throughout it, it's very, very harsh, and the patterns itself are just very, very rude. You can just see there the amount of, I want to say split patterns because that's the way I just see them, but I imagine you just call them brackets.
Yeah, brackets, what we talk about in 7K is patterns that look like checkerboards, patterns that make you do like a 1-3 chord, then a 2 chords, and a 1-3 chord, that type of style. This is very BMS in its mapping. Despite being a lower SR, 5.97 stars, it's underrated, is what we gotta say, because even though the patterns are less dense, they're not nice. In Mania, I think there's this kind of mapping meta of making all your patterns very nice, and you've got a lot of the chord streams are based around stair patterns, and you have double stairs, and you have stairs going back and forth. And that makes it very nice and easy to manage, and you can break it up into parts, but here, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah, it's just like way more structured in just a more rigid way, I will say. It looks like it's more like not really comfortable. It's more like I said, just breaking it, like I don't have the English word for that. Like breaking, I won't say the flow of it, going back and forth into different directions. Like instead of using stairs, it's just broken stairs.
Yeah, it's just all over the place. It's one of those maps where you've seen it. There's not much to say beyond that. But next, we will be having Camellia. This is our 5th map. Camellia Towards the Horizon, mapped by Ankle. We've seen Ankle already. This is another long node map. Let's say about this map. It's got some, well, let's read the stats first. 154 BPM, length 1 minute 56 seconds, SR 5.73 stars. And despite it being long nodes, it's also got some technical aspects because it has a lot of mini jacks in it.
More of like a mixed choice in between the long nose and rise here.
Yeah, that's a good judgment, I'd say. More of a mixed choice.
It looks pretty fun though so far. Some of the releases there are a bit tricky, but in general they are sort of consistent, at least in the parts where we're mixing Rise with Lions. Up until this part is just getting a little bit too complicated for my eyes to follow, but...
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like, I'd love to pretend like us commentators are, you know everything there is about 7K, but we're getting at the part of the tournament where, unless you are one of the top tier players, you can barely even see what's going on the screen.
And I can like follow the patterns, but I can't really tell that much how difficult it is just by looking at it. Oh, I have to take my time. On the editor, even after the map showcase over, look at those mini jacks. These are really, really good. Like the mini jacks into longness. I want to call them shields, but man, it's really, really dense here. The longness here are just so tricky to follow all over the play, and the mini jacks not making it easier by any means. Very tricky patterns over here. Those mini jacks are quite fast as well. They're rocking at 154, which is, I think they were 1/3 though, so maybe they are not as fast. In any case, just patterning itself was pretty tricky, and that ending with a long no combination was pretty hard. Now we're moving into the next one, which is, I believe, the first time we're seeing a delay chart on the map pool, which is Yo Sakura by Reva, 135 BPM and 6.38 stars, a length of 2 minutes and 11, and copy pasted. You can already hear the song. I wasn't even seeing the map, I was just reading some of the notes, and I already was noticing that this is just a full delay chart. Sort of like Eternal Drain for those who are familiar on 4K. Delay streams are just streams that are like very fast and like delays the music. It's hard to explain, you just see them and you realize how they are. They're like simple streams, but very fast.
Yes, the main, I think, delay streams comes from the idea of BMS. You have key sounds, but the sounds are kind of doubled. Every time you hear one sound, you actually hear two back to back, and it makes this interesting sound, and it means really fast patterns. Like, this is a 135 BPM map, but these streams are basically 270 streams. 270 BPM streams. And of course the patterns are actually quite simple. They're just stairs mostly, a little bit of core streaming mixed in, but it's so fast. That's the main point of this map.
It's just out of control and how fast you can really go. Similar to 4K as well, when you get into a point where maps are just so fast, it's just about controlling your fingers. Sort of like cheating your way out of the patterns technically, like trying to find a way to, like, like, I want to say jump trailing, but that's not the correct terminology on 7K, but trying to like find a comfortable way for you to hit them, even though not accurately going as fast, just trying to like smash a little bit, getting maybe not the best of the judgments, but this is getting pretty fast, and I can see some people trying to do that.
Yeah, you're talking about approximation, I believe. When you play a pattern that's not necessarily what's on the screen, but which is good enough to hit all the notes. Because there's no way anyone can play. Well, I say that, but for most people, there's no way you can play all these streams and actually hit all of them and hit the doubles where the doubles are, hit the singles where the singles are. You're just trying to get all the notes out of your fingers at about the right time. But yeah, that map is over, only 2 minutes long, and the next one is Shoujo Fractal, Samayoi no Mei, Nat by Wonky. Ooh, again, we can see going into the dense long note patterns.
Yep, basically a little bit of an inverse action here. OD7, HP7. So shouldn't be as complicated to get accuracy, at least like ratio out of it. But with the releases that we're gonna see onto this map, it will be fairly tricky to get a good score if you're not pretty well versed into long note patterns. Particularly inverses.
The way this map works is that most of it is pretty easy, but every now and then there's an inverse pattern that lasts no more than 2 seconds, but it's just so dense and it's so fast and it's full of long notes, and it's only 1 minute and 30 seconds long, so it's exactly up to those sections that determine which team wins this match. It's this soft.
Yeah, this is like the type of map where just one choke is good enough. Just for him to, oh my god, that was an inverse. just hearing how short the map is. But yeah, if you cannot hit that inverse section from like those two inverse sections properly, you can drop a lot of points because you can CV rush so easily if you're not familiar with it.
Yeah, combo break rush, of course, when you not just like get one miss, but you get one miss and it throws you off and you can't play the rest of the pattern correctly. With dense long node patterns like this, I think that's definitely a possibility. Yeah, in the last map pool we saw April 14th, it was kind of a gimmick map because it was inverse, but at this level of map, the inverse patterns are just the bread and butter of long node maps.
They sort of are, really. That inverse was pretty fast though and pretty tricky as well. There were just 2 or 3 parts where it actually happened in full force, which is fair enough. You don't, like, it's not that you don't want a full inverse chart, but a full inverse chart is very, very difficult. So you have to be, like, very specific.
Oh yes. So this map, Gorshet, am I allowed to say that? The Nature of Dying, mapped by Blocko. Oh, high HP, high OD, 9.5 and 9.2 respectively. This is a long map. Almost 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 51 seconds, and it's very dense. It's 6.26 long stars, and it doesn't even have that many long nodes.
Yeah, this is pretty much the stamina pick of the pool again. Going for a longer choice this time around, and it will just test your physical stamina mostly instead of your mental or consistency stamina, because albeit the patterns aren't really as complicated as some of the other maps. Just the amount of breaks in between the patterns you have makes it that is a little bit more physical demanding. At least it happens to me when you have like a lot of break-ish, like breakcore-ish songs where you have so many breaks in between the patterns. It just gets harder to follow and your muscles just like tense a little bit and makes it tricky to maintain stamina throughout the whole thing.
Oh, for sure. This is another core streaming map, I believe. We haven't gotten to any super dense sections yet, but once we do get there, it's gonna... I see a little bit of density there, but it's just gonna be chord streams like we've been seeing, but it's also mixed in with more complex patterns. You know, with the rolls for the, you know, the drum breaks, the bzzz kind of patterns. Got those rolls, and it also has jacks mixed in, so a mixed bag of single note patterns, I believe.
Definitely. Here you have a little bit of a break to regain a little bit of stamina in case you were dropping earlier. But now we're getting into a little bit more denser. This is like 1 layer denser than the intro. So people will start to tank into this if their stamina is starting to drop.
We saw Aitor, Aitor, who was playing this map actually for us on the stream, drop there from those chord jacks that we just saw, and the streams are continuing to get denser, with 3 or 4 notes on every chord, and just chord after chord after chord. And we are out of that dense section, but as you can see, even though there's breaks in between it, those are really going to be taxing on your fingers.
Why will those players have stamina issues on this maps? I mean, in general, people is mostly used to play maps around 3 minutes. When you push that a little bit further into 5, which is this map action, like pretty much what this map is doing, those 2 minutes are a long time. That's like almost twice the length of your usual map, so your stamina can definitely be taxed on that aspect. Like, these maps are starting to be very physically demanding overall. Like, your arms can just hurt a little bit if you're not like very good at stamina, which is the thing that this map is gonna aim to attack you at. Like, some players maybe aren't as consistent at this level of speed or this level of density, and they will start to tank on the ending of it because they just cannot keep up with it for that long of a time.
We are getting into the other dense part of this map, and again with the huge chords. Actually, interesting thing I want to point out, as opposed to the other really fast chord streaming map that we've seen, the more BMS style in Delightness Brightness, it's not got so many brackets. You see, there's actually more like bars, notes that are in consecutive lanes, which gets rid of most of those checkerboard patterns. This is more of an Osumania specific style, I believe, and it's definitely gonna make it more comfortable to play. So as we were talking about, this is more about just, instead of being able to hit super complex patterns, it's being able to hit these really big, more simple maybe, but they keep going for a long time and they're very dense. And we are at the end of this map. Also, I want to point out the tree in the background. The Gorshed map with the dead tree in the background. The classic image of Mania. I still don't know if I'm allowed to say that name, but...
You should be fine. I mean, it's the artist. That's gonna be it then for the nature of dying. We're gonna go straight into the next beat map here. And it's some voltage action. Celestial Stinger. Once again about my wonky. This is a gravity difficulty and it's 259 BPM with 2 minutes of length and OD8. So categorized as LMs with streams, so I imagine it's just layers of long notes with a long amount of streams.
Of course, beyond that, there's also the fact that it is a 260 BPM map. That's incredibly fast. The short streams, like it doesn't have constant streams at 260 BPM, that would be ridiculous, but it does have short streams, which are going to be more of a speed-oriented pick, I believe.
Those patterns are looking sort of comfortable throughout it, though. It's just the fact that you have to keep up with a long note layer while doing all this that makes it challenging. The map's main difficulty is just that high BPM and the long note layers on top of the really fast patterning there.
So fast. This is so fast.
There you have some shorter lengths here. Testing a little bit of finger coordination as well on 7 key. Especially if you have like 3 long notes in a row on the same hand, you kind of have to be very versed to like get the releases timing properly and not overhaul one of the notes. But overall, really tricky map. Mostly due to the fact that it's such a high BPM.
I think
you caught up a little bit there.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just saying one of the hardest maps we've seen, and that's definitely saying a lot.
Oh my god, this last lens.
Yeah, we're ending with those long note streams. Not the hardest part of the map. I believe the hardest part would be in the middle with the long notes, along with the 1/4 streams. But that is Celestial Stinger. And next, we're going to another Jackheads map, 02i3 TS Love, and this is our first SV pick. Now, I do call it an SV pick, and it's notable because it has SVs, but here we're going to have more technical patterns. We're going to see mini jacks. Nothing right here in the intro. It's starting out pretty easily. We've got some chords going on. Here's the drop. And here we go. We're seeing mini jacks coming out in the left and right lane, and this is 185 BPM. That's very fast for mini jacks. And we're doing that alongside of long notes and big chords. A note from our map pool selectors. This has the potential to be one of the hardest maps in the pool.
I will say that it's one of the easier ones to choke. Like, it's very hard to be consistent on a map like this, considering the mini jacks at such a fast speed, like 185. It's very, very fast to be good at just consistently hitting mini jacks at that speed. And the SVs just on top of it to like mind block it a little bit more.
I mean, you've been saying that it's already easy to choke, but we haven't even seen the hard part yet, which is the ending. We're getting into it now. We're seeing the SV bumps coming. They're pretty simple, but they will trip you up the first few times you play it. And we're continuing with the dense mini jack chords.
My eyes.
And here is the ending. Should be getting denser anytime now. Yeah, look at this. Look at this density.
Wow, was the pattern? Oh my goodness.
Yeah. This is why this map might be the hardest in the pool.
What is that ending too?
Crazy,
oh my goodness.
Crazy jacks, super dense patterns. I mean, that's just, it comes down to density at this point.
That ending though, oh my goodness. That was very, very harsh.
Crystallized! Sorry.
Yay.
The next map is Crystallized by Camellia, mapped by Blanco. You want to take this away, Juan?
Sure thing. Camellia, crystallized by Bloco. This is the coalescence? Coalescence? I'm not sure if that's the way to pronounce the difficulty name. But it's an OD8, HP9, BPM of 174 with a length of 4 minutes and 21 seconds, just 1 second off. With a star rating of 6.41. This is mostly a short LN SB mixed choice, like a hybrid, I will say. And overall, it's a map by Bloco. We all love maps by Bloco. This is not an exception. Relatively simple, straightforward SVs overall, easy to predict, but it can get pretty harsh on the shorter lens. Like you can drop on the mini lens if you're not like very good at like not saying staccato them because it's still on a relatively slow BPM. But man, those SVs, though predictable, the releases can get pretty complicated to get a
We're
good
actually
judgment.
seeing one of those SV LN sections that you're talking about now. We just got past it actually. Those big chord long notes with the speeding up SVs in it. That is the part where you're going to be watching out for your releases. You want to time them correctly. But then, of course, you also have this. You were also mentioning this, the kind of the meat of the map, I guess. These short, long note patterns of chords. Definitely not on the level of other like really dense maps we've seen. But this paired with the SPs can definitely make for a challenging map.
Yeah, but I can see this map being played quite a lot, I'll say, because the SVs aren't really too hard to ban it just for the sake of it being SV. And the map, though it is pretty hard, it's probably still doable for most of the teams. Like, I can definitely see a lot of teams struggling to get like very high scores on this one, but seeing the rest of the pool already, this looks like on the easier end for the most part. More on a consistency level, I will say. So some teams that are like being able to hold on to this BPM and they are like alright on long nose, they probably gonna play this. And if not, I don't really see a team just banning this one outright out. With maps like I don't know, BBB if you're like not so good at speed, or
yeah, that's definitely
like
I think.
one.
Oh, but we have not gotten to the most ban-worthy maps of the pool yet. You guys just wait. This map is 4 minutes and 20 seconds, so yeah, on the longer end of the pool. Sorry, I got caught up there thinking about that particular number, whether I should make a joke or not. We're getting into the. I think this is probably the final TI of the section. It's got more of those long note streams along with single note streams.
This is probably one of the most trickiest part of the map, I think, in terms of reading, really. It's just that the mini lens are so intrusive for your eyes to like read the pattern properly.
It's crazy, you know. You take a pattern that's easy, and you add some mini long notes to it, and suddenly it's like super hard to read.
Yeah, and the most fun part is that if you actually make every single note a shorter length, it will be even easier. Like, it actually is not that hard to read. It's just that if you mix those two, it just looks so complicated for your eyes to comprehend.
This song is definitely less about the density, less about high-level playing, and more about the chaos. Because you got long notes, you got streams, and you got SVs. But we are winding down here, this in the outro of this map, taking us into
slow jam, let's sing.
Yeah, this map does have some slow jams. That's worth pointing out. That might trip up some people, but they're not, you know, they're not very extreme.
Ah, definitely, it's not the hardest thing with the map by any means.
So that was map 11, by the way. We're already most of the way through the pool. Only 2 maps left before the tiebreaker, and just waiting for these last few chords. There is Crystallized, map by Blocko. The next map is A4 Paper, Hypernova. Lee's 7K Black Another, map set by Spy. Oh jeez.
Look at that, I know the song, but
yeah, me too.
I haven't seen the map before, so it's a little bit of a surprise. This is a 8 OD, 8 HP, and another 2 minutes map. Overall, the map pool is quite short on average, star rating of 6.1, so a little more of a technical choice once again, bursty as many of the other maps before, but I will say this map is mostly difficult. on the fact that it's a pretty dense one overall.
I think this is definitely one of the more like normal picks, one of the more standard picks.
Oh yeah.
Nothing particularly stands out, but the hardest parts are going to be the bursts, along with those long notes, you know, just mixed in every now and then. Like there, we just saw some burst mixed into that pattern. Not sure if I caught that, but that's probably where all the misses are going to be coming out.
It's definitely like a spike of the chart, but I feel that most people around the semis, unless on like on the top 8, like they should do alright with that kind of patterns. Overall, I feel it will mostly come out to those teams that are gonna get knocked out on the first stage of the losers bracket here. They are probably gonna have issues with those bursts, but overall, I can see this one being mostly just like shows instead of like just straight up issues keeping up with the patterns overall, because the patterns are pretty well looking. They are sort of comfortable, though of course they are hard, but compared to the rest of the map, the patterns look pretty straightforward when it comes to bursts. I mean, compared to the rest of the pool, I'm definitely not able to play this at all.
This map is only 2 minutes long, so we are approaching the end here with another quick burst here with those 2 long notes.
Oh my
some
god!
Very mean, what's that, 7th lane jacks going out there. And that's a 3-note jack too.
Oh,
yeah, another burst, more jacks on the 7th lane. And that is one of those bursts we were pointing out earlier, and that is the end of Hypernova. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you Sean Wasabi plus YDJ featuring Young Yemi, Burnt Rice, mapped by Seal.
We don't even have to see anything else. That's it. We're done with the showcase, guys. I hope you enjoyed this map. We just have to name the map.
I'm sorry, Juan, but we do have to see this map with its insane stutters and bumps. We're already seeing it actually in this easy section. I'll wait till we get to the dense section to point out exactly what the hardest patterns are. But this is a 3.5 minute song. No, what am I saying? 3 minute 50-second song. And already we're seeing these crazy speed ups and slowdowns. And this is the easy part of the song, folks. This is the easy part of the song.
We are presenting you the 100% ban rate of this poll.
Oh, well, we don't want to call it so early. I mean, if April got played, then anything's possible. But yeah, we are approaching one of the courses. What we're going to be looking at in the courses, we got some stutter effects going on here, and that's what this course is all about. We see these 3-note jacks over and over in both hands, and insane stutters. The notes are barely scrolling, they're just teleporting from one note to the next, and that is what makes it so hard to read. Ooh, look at this part. Yeah, do I even need to say anything? You guys are looking at this, right?
I just love this. Man, if this had a 4-key difficulty, I will play it so much.
And this is
4 stars, by the way.
Yeah, only 4.4 stars, but still one of the harder maps of the pool because of this combination of SVs and mini jacks. We are out of the course, but the SVs don't stop. We're still seeing these slow ups and slow downs over and over.
The speed of it. Oh boy, those teleports, those stutters.
We also want to point out here the one-handed stare patterns are going back and forth, kind of the 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. That is
the mind blocks.
A simple-looking pattern, but it's very easy to mind block. And what we mean by mind block, I guess it's a pattern that's not supposed to be that hard, but if you just focus on it too much, you can psych yourself out and just not hit it.
I will say the mind blocking patterns is mostly because when they are repetitive and you get lost into the repetition, and that makes you like completely forget how to play it because you're not sure where you're at it. Happens a lot of times, especially in maps like SVs where you played so many times and you kind of like memorize how to play it. And because you memorize how to play it, it's like when you're having a math test and you know the formulas by memory, but you cannot understand where they're coming from. And if they get you with a hard problem that you don't really have to use the formula, you don't know how to solve it. Well, it's sort of comparable, I guess. Nerds.
That's an interesting comparison. I think it's a good way to think about it. We are going back into another drop here. I'm going back to the chorus. This chorus is repeated, so all you 7K players out there, praise the heavens, the song repeats, so it's not 4 minutes of totally new gimmicks. Again, we're having these bumps and the stutters. More jacks, more 4 jacks here.
Oh, this mini jack. I mean, we've seen it before, but seeing the pattern introducing into it, It's just so harsh.
Yep, you have to do it twice. You have to play the hard part of this map twice. And again, we're going into the Space Jack section, and that should be rounding out the map for us.
This is such a sealed map, like you don't even have to see it. You just see the map, you don't even have to know the map, or you already instantly call that it's sealed. These SVs are like him, screaming him in so many different languages.
That's true, these extreme stutter and bumps are 100% seal style. And we also have these very... what do I want to call them? They're, words not coming to me. But in any case, that is the end of the main SV pick of this pool. And the next one is the tiebreaker.
We're kind of sorry for this one. And by sorry, I mean not sorry, but this map is very hard. Genru Kaiko, this is a 7-key difficulty made by Evening, actually. This is a set by Shikino Hollow, which is a Malaysian mapper and player. Star rating of 7.27. This is an
7.27. Sorry,
yes.
I just had to come in there and say that. Okay, I'm good. Keep going.
OD7, HP 8.5, BPM of 133, and 5 minutes length. So, classic map. Overall, a pretty hard map, no matter how you look at it. Very dense core stream at the one part, you're gonna see it later. But in general, it has a little bit of everything. You can see this sort of intersection, not as tricky as maybe the intersection of the map we saw before. Was it Samayoi, I think it was? Yeah, Samayoi no Me. But still, pretty complicated nonetheless.
This map has a lot of good balance between the single notes and the long notes. We've already seen some long note inverse sections actually, but kind of the defining feature of this map, the thing that most people will remember it for, are those unique symmetrical patterning. And you know, personally, I love symmetrical patterning. I think it's cool. But when it's at this dense, this fast, it's one of those patterns that's easy to look at, not easy to play.
Yeah, it's definitely visually appealing, but good luck playing it. Look at those long notes there to release it. And overall, the coordination required is it's such an insane level, and it makes sense being the semifinals tiebreak, but it's a very complicated map. Like, the good thing about this map, I will say, is that the better team will almost always win the tiebreaker because it's such harder like the rest of the pool in so many different aspects. Like, not even the hardest long note maps are sort of on top of those difficult sections. Maybe the inverses are not as complicated, and you will see on the last third of the map, you will see very dense core streaming as well. So it's like a step up of every single map in the pool we saw before, but in just one map. Let's look at that, here we go.
I think also it does have a good balance of notes, single notes and long notes that are a step up in density wise. It's more of a normal pick, I say. It's more a comfortable pattern. And I say that, you know, it's very mind blockable, especially the symmetrical parts, but they are built to get more comfortable. It's built around stair patterning. You can actually see here it's kind of doing a zigzag sort of thing. More easy to follow than the DMS bracket style that we've seen earlier. Also, we don't have complicated long note endings. It's we have dense long notes, but the endings of them are kind of intuitive, right? Each long note ends where the next long note starts. So we have a nice little inverse break here. But what was I saying? Yeah, this is definitely a test of just, can you go above and beyond on those basic skills? Can you take it to the next level?
If we see an FC of this on stream, that would be pretty epic.
We're looking at you, Jackheads.
Yeah.
Well, that would require South Korea to go to a tiebreaker, and don't know how likely that is. But
well, they're against Malaysia, so Chiwi versus the Cats on this map will be so amazing.
That will be a very good matchup for sure. Malaysia 3rd seed against South Korea 1st seed. But yeah, I mean, look at this map. We got some more double streams going on. A lot of double streams this map. Gotta point that out.
Look at those lands. This is getting so tricky into this section. You can see Geki just struggling a lot on those long note patterns. this ending is just, for me, it's already unreadable, to be fair. But it's pretty dense. There's like double stairs all the way through with 3-note chords and 4-note chords all over the place.
I think I would say this is the level of density where mapping styles kind of stop being relevant.
Being a thing.
because you gotta fit all the notes somewhere, and you're gonna run out of space to put notes eventually. But yeah, mostly it's based around these double stream patterns, but also with chords mixed in. So, which is basically what most high density streams look like.
Oh my goodness! Look at that inburst. I can see failed potential in this section. If someone is not very good at this type of thing, there could be a deciding thing just at the very end of the map.
And that is, yeah, the last part of the map is definitely the hardest in this one, with those chord streams and those long notes coming back to back. But yes, that is the tiebreaker of the semifinals map poll. And that is the end of this map poll showcase.
Yeah, that's gonna be it for the map poll showcase. I hope you all enjoyed it, though. It's definitely an interesting poll, I will say. Waiting to see the teams perform on the semifinals. All the information, though, it's gonna be on the wiki as soon as possible, probably tomorrow at very early time. So yeah, other than that, it's been a pleasure to commentate with you, Niv, as always.
Yeah, a pleasure. Same here. Great to commentate with you. And thank you everyone for tuning in to our stream, and please tune in again next week for our semifinals, where actually we can go over the brackets real quick just so we have an idea of what's coming up. We are, give me a moment. We are going to be seeing Malaysia versus South Korea in the winners bracket. We're also going to be seeing China versus Singapore. A lot of top seed matchups. In the losers bracket, it's a little harder to keep track of, but
it's been fun. We're gonna have Italy versus Philippines on the losers bracket. We're gonna have France versus Brazil, Australia versus Chile, and Japan versus the United States. So those are the matches we're gonna have on the losers bracket. But not only that, losers bracket matches will have a double amount of matches. Like on this stage, we have to eliminate more players. So I mean more teams. So that means the losers bracket will have to play twice. So we have another match after the first round of losers bracket, which will be either Brazil or France versus either United States or Japan on the first side of the bracket, on the upper side of the bracket, and the lowest bracket, of course. And the other matchup will be the winner between Italy and Philippines and Australia versus Chile. So we're gonna have a lot of matches on the semifinals.
yeah, make sure to tune in for that. And I believe that's all we have for you today.
That seems to be it for me, and if nothing else needs to be said, I just hope to see you all next weekend on the semifinals.
See ya!